Last summer, we saw England switching from a back three to a back four, back to a back three, and then playing a 4-3-3, a 4-2-3-1, a 3-4-3, a 3-5-2. So all those formations are much more interchangeable for him. I think it's a really interesting time for Gareth Southgate. This year's been very difficult. Without question, it's been the hardest year since he's been the England manager in 2016. I've seen it up close and personal with him. He seems to be affected by the criticism, which has mainly started really from the pundits and former players. And I think actually criticism from former players seems to hurt him quite a lot. He's quite sensitive to that. And that kind of developed a lot over the summer with obviously the poor results that England had, which was undeniable. Nobody can say England played well. They played poorly. There were mitigating circumstances, but there were mitigating circumstances for every nation. It was a poor summer. England have gone 6 games without a win, and that's unacceptable for any nation that has aspirations to do well at tournaments. That is all fair criticism, absolutely. Where it perhaps steps over the mark is where it becomes very personal, and I think a lot of that has been coming out in the last year as well, which I think he has found difficult to handle. And I think that is affecting the players now. In the last few weeks, last few months, he's talked more again about that creeping back, that sense of pressure, that sense of worry about what the reaction will be if England don't do well. Now, it's up to him and the players to manage that, and they have to deal with it. You can create a siege mentality, or you can try and brush it off, or you can just be positive. I hope that the latter. And getting the best out of England's attacking players is the big issue for Southgate, because England's strength clearly is in some of those young attacking talents they've got, such as Bukayo Saka, Phil Foden, Jack Grealish and so on. We know England have got some very exciting young players in those areas. Now, the counter argument to that is winning tournament football usually comes from a very solid defensive base. Now, the last World Cup was won by France. France, again, had some very exciting attacking young players, but Didier Deschamps said, no, we're going to make ourselves very, very difficult to beat, and we're going to go forward and win the tournament that way. So not defensive football, but solid, well-organised football tends to win tournaments. So the conundrum for Southgate is, how do you get that balance right? Now, the balance, he will say, is right, because England tend to play with 5 attacking players and 5 defenders, no matter what the formation is. So if it's a 4-3-3, you tend to have 4 defenders, 1 defensive-minded midfielder, and 5 more attacking players. They played Italy recently, played a 3-4-3, but that again was quite attacking. Again, there was 5 attacking players in that, because one of the wing-backs was Saka, and Saka was an attack-minded player. Bellingham played, an attack-minded player, and then you had the 3 attackers, so 5 attackers. So he will argue that he has got those attackers on the pitch already. Now the question is, does that formation, or does his approach get the best out of them? I think he does have faith in them, although he's worried about exposing them. And it's just getting that balance between unleashing the attack and allowing the attacking players to do their thing, and making sure England is defensively strong enough. The main challenge that Gareth Southgate faces with his squad selection is injury and fitness. Because of the nature of this tournament, it's very strange, obviously unprecedented to have a tournament in the middle of a season, and we're going to go straight into it. It's almost a daily check on who is fit and who is available. We see that already. 3 big players are probably going to be out, or at least not going to be fully fit for the start of the tournament, in Kyle Walker, Reece James and Calvin Phillips. I think Gareth is almost taking on a daily basis, just checking with the clubs, checking with the players to see who's going to be fit and available, because once he names that squad, we have no time at all before not only do they go to Qatar, but England play their first game. So I think that is the one big issue that he has to deal with, who's fit. It's almost who's fit rather than who's in form. I think if there are certain players who are fit and not playing that well, he will still take them because of what they've done in the past. So I think that's going to be his biggest challenge. We're going into this World Cup, everyone's talking about this young, inexperienced, exciting squad, but actually it's a squad with quite a lot of tournament experience now. You've got a core of players who played at the 2018 World Cup and in the Euros, obviously reaching the final last summer. So I think the obvious candidates for that are Jordan Pickford in goal. 100% Gareth Southgate has faith in the goalkeeper, and we've seen with Everton he's become a more reliable player now, so that is one issue that he doesn't have to worry about. I think central defence is a concern, but we've got John Stones and Harry Maguire who've been the first choice in the last 2 tournaments and have not let England down. Now, the Maguire debate is really interesting because clearly he's not playing very well for Manchester United. He hasn't played that well for England recently. He's not even in the Manchester United team, obviously, a lot of the time, gone from being captain to being out of the side. So there is a big debate over his value and worth and whether he should play. But actually, if you look at England in tournaments, he's been one of their best players. In last Euros, he was in the team of the tournament. So Stones and Maguire are going to be rock solid in terms of their selection as the centre-halves. Depends whether he plays 3 at the back or 4 at the back. And then up front, you've got the other 2 players that she really, really relies upon are Harry Kane and Raheem Sterling, his 2 most experienced attackers. Those 2, again, will be the go-to players for England. I think midfield is the one area where that's less of a solid proposition. You've got Declan Rice, who obviously will start and obviously played in the Euros last summer. It's interesting we talk about tactics with England because Gareth Southgate is quite bemused by the whole debate, really. I think he thinks it's really a media and a fan thing that we get obsessed by playing 3 at the back, 4 at the back, what systems they're playing. His argument is the modern day player, especially an England international, is adaptable and can play various systems, especially even within a game. And you see that sometimes. For example, at the Euros last summer, we saw England switching from a back 3 to a back 4, back to a back 3, and then playing a 4-3-3, a 4-2-3-1, a 3-4-3, a 3-5-2. So all those formations are much more interchangeable for him. I think what he'll do in the group games, I think he will probably play a 4 at the back in the games which he feels are against weaker oppositions, and then a 3 at the back when he's playing stronger teams. Now, because England haven't been playing particularly well this year, it may be that he actually goes to 3 at the back from the start as almost like a default. Belt and braces were going to be more difficult to beat in those group games. But I think his intention was to go and play 4-3-3 in the groups and maybe 3-4-3 in the knockout games. So I think you'll see quite a lot of interchangeability of formation and approach. But the bigger issue around that is whether or not people will argue, is he using attacking players in the right way? And that again is something that is an ongoing debate.